Hello, hello, hello. This is Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador from Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. I'm going to talk just for a few minutes today about body type. A lot of people don't realize how much their body type has to do with the results they achieve when they're working out. So, there are three basic body types, and everyone fits more or less into one of these types. They're called somatotypes. So they're going to be one of three somatotypes. And the three types are ectomorph, okay, endomorph, and mesomorph. Or we can say ectomorphic, endomorphic, and mesomorphic. So let's start with me, for instance. I am an ectomorph. An ectomorph is someone who is naturally skinny. They're basically a slender build, kind of longer limbs, high metabolism, and ectomorphs find it difficult to gain weight. And I can attest to this. It's very, very much a challenge for me to put on pounds. I can do it, but I have to really, really focus on eating more and eating more and eating more. And even when I put on pounds, it's a challenge to keep those pounds on. I have to constantly focus on consuming more in order to keep those pounds on, because I'm a naturally slender build and my metabolism is very high. And that also means that for ectomorphs such as me, it can be a little bit more challenging to put on muscle. Okay, so if you're someone who is a slender build like me, you need to understand that you may have more of a challenge building muscle than the other two body types. And that's fine. It doesn't mean that you can't build muscle. It just means that it won't come quite as naturally to you, and you're going to have to put in more effort in adding some bulk so that you can build some muscle. And understand that it's going to be more difficult if getting swole is one of your objectives. Then as an ectomorph, it's going to be more difficult to do that. And that's just the reality of the situation. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just your body type. Okay. Now, next you have the endomorph. And an endomorph is basically someone who is more of a stocky build, more rotund. It does not necessarily mean that the person is fat, but they certainly have a higher amount of fat than an ectomorph, and also higher than a mesomorph. So the endomorph is typically someone who's going to be a heavier build in general. The thing is, though, they actually do have muscle. With endomorphs, a lot of times what you'll find is they just have muscle you can't see because they have a relatively high body fat percentage. And so, you can't necessarily, the muscles just don't come visibly popping out. But endomorphs, in fact, do tend to have decent musculature action. So for them, of course, the challenge is going to be a lot of times slimming down to a point where they can actually really see that muscle definition. And it is a bit of a challenge because endomorphs are prone to putting on weight. It's easy if you are an endomorph to gain weight. Uh, you can do it without thinking. You can do it without trying. So you have the opposite issue that an ectomorph has. You can put on weight very easily, but losing weight is going to be a challenge. Again, you need to understand that's your body type. And if you have that challenge, that's normal for your body type. Okay. So the next body type is going to be the mesomorph. And the mesomorph is essentially someone who is naturally of an athletic build. So they tend to have, the broad shoulders, smaller waist. They tend to be able to build muscle very easily. These are the people who can get in shape relatively quickly, especially in terms of just building muscle. They can actually build muscle pretty quickly. They tend to have, pretty good posture. So for mesomorphs, you're not really dealing with crazy metabolic issues. You do need to eat right, watch what you eat, try to eat well. But in general, you can build muscle relatively easy, and you can manage your weight relatively easy as well. So whatever body type you are, you need to understand what that is, and then have some feasible expectations of what you can achieve based on the body type that you have.